Please note these are a form of social commentary and not in any way meant to put down the ideas and ideals of any political or gender identity. You are all fair game in the eyes of the wicked, and we see you.
I've done what felt right. It just feels like
the world is like a ride at an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored, and it's very loud, and it's fun for a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us, and they say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest. Have a look at see that chap over there? Take your hand off my penis!
The Deputy Secretary, the Deputy Secretary, Deputy Secretary.
This guy is fucking stupid!
stay cheesy.
All right, and one more sound. All right, how's it going, boys and girls, children of all ages? All right. So today we are doing episode 2 with the new setup, and I just gotta say I absolutely love it. I really do. The amount of bass on my voice has always been a big deal to me, because I don't know, I grew up watching guys like Mel Gibson and Rod Sterling and all these guys with these just fantastic controlling, not really controlling, but like attention grasping kind of speech patterns. These guys didn't speak like anybody else. They spoke with, I don't know, this like real importance to every word they had to say. And I lost my fucking lighter. All right, I'm gonna have to use a Zippo. And that's why we carry Zippos. All right, so today's episode, we're going to be doing it on what is a cult. Is MAGA really a cult, or is it just a cult of personality? Well, unfortunately, the answer is pretty obvious, but just to make sure that we're not missing anything, I set up a few videos so we can check out that really exemplifies what a cult actually is and what a cult is comprised of. And so we're going to start that off with what makes an actual cult. And so that's one of the first videos we're going to be showing, because it seems like we live in a time where a question like, do you not realize you're in a cult, becomes, oh, that's just what the left wants you to believe. We're not actually a cult. And, when we use the very basic knowledge that we have over cults, right away we naturally say, okay, so you believe this dude is the only fix to anything. He's like all powerful and damn near omnipotent and omnipresent because of the internet. And I don't understand how this, this kiss of death that he keeps giving everybody, I don't know how that's not a sign alone where people say, you know what, maybe you should back off, because everything you touch turns to shit. So, here is a video, I believe, from the early 80s, late 70s, and it's going to address us on what a cult is. Now, remember, yesterday we did one on propaganda, or maybe it was 2 days ago. We did it on propaganda. What is actual propaganda? And I got to show you guys a very old 1957, I think it was, video on how to identify propaganda. That's great. That's very important information. But so is being able to identify a cult so that way you know what you're joining. Is it a club? Is it a congregation? Is it just a, run of the mill organization of book readers? Whatever. Doesn't matter. This is how we can identify it, because they all seem to have the same characteristics, because they rely on those characteristics for you to fall in love with that cult leader. I don't care if you're Jim Jones. I don't care if you're Donald Trump. Either way, it's manipulation, and we're going to go ahead and show you how it's done. And I just want you to keep in mind, since we did religion yesterday, some of these tactics are actually used from religion, and that's where these ideas came from. Knowing how effective they were in religion, they knew, well, if we apply this to a non-religious entity, we can definitely get more people. So let's start it off with what actually makes a cult.
Louis Jolyon West is a professor of psychiatry at the University of California, Los Angeles, and the former head of the Neuropsychiatric Institute there. He's a pioneer in the study of mind control and thought reform, and is known throughout the world as an expert on these techniques.
Totalist cults vary, but typically, once you're in, you're discouraged from questioning and thinking critically. You must accept the word of the leaders. They make you feel guilty if you do question or argue. Your environment is often controlled, cutting you off from friends, family, school, previously held beliefs. They want you to become dependent on the cult. Some provide a poor diet, poor health care, little sleep, and long, exhausting hours of work to make you physically weak and lower your ability to think clearly.
All right, so let me just jump in for just a moment. Now, all right, we're going into the characteristics of a cult. Now, again, I wanted to say that religion is no different, because in order to get a person from zero to actually, to start them at zero, you can't start a person when they're already thinking for themselves. They already have their idea of what makes them happy, what a god looks like, all those things. What you have to do is break that down, so that way you can rebuild that person in whatever image that you need to. So just like Scientology, just like in Christianity, Catholicism, there's only one way, and if you don't take that way, you're a failure. And cults are no different from religion. And again, I just want to clarify, because we're going to get into mysticism later on, and I really want to point this out, because this is, to me, this is extremely important to let people know. Although I do not believe in chakras, quantum mysticism, and we're going to get into what that actually is, or actually what it isn't. And so as you can see, we sponsors us, and we definitely help out with Spiritual Essence LLC. Now, while watching this episode and then seeing something like this, you would think, oh, well, he's a hypocrite. No. The person that runs Spiritual Essence LLC is a friend of mine, and also a very intelligent person. She will never tell you that you need to see her instead of a doctor if you're in a physical ailment, like a real problem. She's not going to pretend to be your doctor, but she is going to try to help you get your mind off of certain things, because mind over matter has been around forever, and there's a reason why. when you see a 100-pound woman lift a car to save her child, that's adrenaline, that's, all of these different chemical reactions. But most of all, it's the fact that the woman is not thinking about how heavy that car is. So it's amazing what we can actually accomplish when we don't think about it and we don't see it as an actual obstacle. And instead, if we accept it for what it is. So right now, we're at what? Cannot think clearly. Again, this is a way of breaking you down so that way you think whatever they think is the clear thought. All right, let's move on.
Subtly, your self-confidence gets undermined, and your self-image or sense of identity is changed. The leaders control channels of communication. They cut off or put down outside sources of information. Then they bombard you with what they want you to think. You become dependent on the group. You're told that you won't be able to make it without them. Maybe you'll be hit by a car or get cancer or go insane, or a family member will be harmed. You become convinced you can solve your problems or be happy only by staying with the group and by accepting its answers. They use strong peer pressure, playing on your desire to be loved and accepted. The leaders may promise rewards if you obey them and punishment if you don't, but they alternate harshness and leniency in order to confuse you. The leaders manipulate language, giving special...
I also want to jump in for this second here. Now we're seeing alternate reward and punishment. Now, if you remember the this week, we did an episode and we talked about B.F. Skinner. Now, B.F. Skinner was you can say he was a pioneer in psychology, but I just think he was an evil prick. And his entire philosophy was based on reward and punishment. The fact that humans only learn from a system of reward and punishment. I don't agree with that. I have done so much in my life where I couldn't care less about a reward or a punishment. So I think it's too binary, and I think it's way too black and white. There's a very deep gray area for a lot of us, and we're the ones that can never enter a cult because we have brains that never shut the fuck up. So all right, let's finish off this video.
Meanings to words that only insiders understand. This is to make you feel like you're part of a special, important, or elite group, and that outsiders are inferior, dangerous, or doomed.
Kind of like a secret.
They may use techniques such as meditation, chanting, speaking in tongues, self-hypnosis, reveries, visualization, or controlled breathing exercises, anything to put you into a trance-like state of mind and be easily influenced. You have to confess your shortcomings, mistakes, or misbehavior, sometimes even if these things never really happened. And meanwhile, your time and activities are tightly controlled. You don't have much privacy or energy or time to think because you're too busy doing monotonous, repetitive tasks or other...
Now, again, jumping in. Again, are you guys seeing the connection here between not only just MAGA, but just religions in general? The idea of controlling your time. You have to remember that the system is already controlling your time. That the workaday life bullshit is already controlling 2/3 of your time. 1/3 of it is spent at work. The other third of it is spent sleeping. So you have 1/3 of your life to get your commuting done and some sort of fucking entertainment and life events. So you have very little time as it is in this real world to go ahead and do whatever you want. So again, this is just a way of breaking down a person and saying this is where you're going to spend your time. And often it works because these people don't really have anything to do with their time, hence them joining a fake religion.
or cult-related activities. The leaders try to control you and who and when you can love, and even your sexuality, everything about you. They want to exploit you for their own enrichment, their own power or grandiosity. If they succeed, you will declare your loyalty to the cult and to its leaders, rejecting your old values and way of life. Without realizing it, you will have been changed into a person who is being controlled by a totalist cult.
Now, that is pretty much dead on exactly what's going on in MAGA. So what I want to do is now show you a video of MAGA and see how these people have taken their mindset, that they have had this mindset, this political mindset. They know who they vote for. They know what they look for in a leader. And your entire expectations and your sense of normalcy is gone, because this is the new normal, and it's not. There's nothing normal about it. And when it takes the daughter of Satan himself, you know, Dick Cheney's daughter, you can see the disillusionment. And what's really funny is that we're getting a lot more people that are now sending in their stories, and I see this on the Midas Touch all the time. People are sending in their stories about being a 40-year Republican that now does not see themselves in this party. This party has abandoned them. There's nothing conservative about being a MAGA. But again, we're not talking about MAGA. We're talking about cultism. So although MAGA is a form of cult, and I like to call it the cult of lack of personality, but you know, if walk like duck, talk like duck, probably duck. So here's a situation where you try getting through to these people and try to tell them, do you see this? You're in a cult. You think that only one guy is going to fix everything, knowing how fucking unreal this person is, and none of it matters. All that matters to you is your precious fifis and your bullshit fucking narrative that you've been fed for so long. And what's hilarious is this is the same side as you Bush haters. You know, you're now all pretending that you hated Bush. But during 9/11, I remember I was the only one that hated Bush, and I was called anti-American for it. So it just shows you that cults especially rely on the weak-willed and the very unintelligent.
I think the following of Trump and MAGA is kind of a cult.
No, it doesn't follow that at all. If you look at the definition of a cult, they take away your rights, they take away your choices, they control your finances. I don't think this is cult. I think that people are learning. We're digging deeper than we ever have before. We're asking hard questions that we weren't asking for the last 30, 40, 50 years. It's not a cult. We want answers. We want to know the truth about what's going on. And we're looking for a leader who will expose the corruption, the Epstein corruption, the Hunter Biden corruption, all of it.
Epstein had
We
like
want to see
7
where our
numbers
tax
for
dollars are
Trump.
really going. You know, when I was growing up, my parents had one day to go vote. They did a paper ballot. They walked in, they showed their ID. There was no discussion.
Isn't it better to have more dates to vote, more people get an opportunity to vote?
No, I do not agree with that whatsoever.
Tell me one thing that he did to make your life better when he was president.
Gas prices, for one. Economy is much better.
Do you feel the improving economy? Because all the metrics we talk about for the economy, all the economists are saying the economy is on the rebound, historic lows in unemployment right now. Does that impact you?
As a matter of fact, I don't believe any of that. That's not what I witnessed, so I don't believe it.
It's not what
did you believe, I guess, pre-pandemic, because that's kind of a blip, but pre-pandemic when President Trump was in office, did you believe the metrics then?
Not from the mainstream media, but anything that he said generally in his administration, I believed.
Right, in which the mainstream media uses... that makes no sense. He just said, I believe him, but I don't believe the mainstream media. Well, when he says something, you learn about it through the mainstream media. So what the fuck are you talking about? he is literally purposely unacknowledging the fact that everything he's saying is wrong. And when you ask a MAGA, what about the presidency what did you get out of it? They'll say the same thing. We felt safe. You felt safe, really? Because I remember being stuck inside my house for 2 years, and I felt safe. I also felt fucking suicidal. And then you have Trump literally telling people that Biden wants to put us back into our houses. Motherfucker, you did that last time, okay? You did that last time because you refused to react to a goddamn virus that was killing hundreds of thousands of people. So again, yes, this is a cult.
So if it was coming from him, it was gospel. Because there are a lot of people that say, well, that's turning a blind eye to things if you're only trusting the person who's saying it. Almost it's cult-like. Does this feel cult-like at all to you?
No, not at all. In fact, what's cult-like to me is watching the mainstream media and listening to the existing administration.
What do you say to people who say that this is a cult?
I think the deep state's a cult.
What can you define what the deep state is?
Yeah. People the original 13 families, it starts from there.
Can you tell me who you mean in the back in the colonies?
Oh, no, don't try. No, not.
No, I meant the 13, because the 13 colonies.
The original 13 families, the Rothschilds, the Astors, all the big money.
Okay, all right, let me just shut her up right there. Just right there. Just shut the fuck up. So she is literally saying the original 13 families. Do you realize that the Illuminati came from Bavaria? It's not an American institution. The Rockefellers and all that shit, guess what? They pay Trump too. Okay? The reason why Trump will hate a rich person is because that rich person knows he is not a rich person. And so it's funny how you see all these people just going, oh my God, they're picking on Trump because he's a grifter. Yeah, grifters suck. Now, unless you're in the movie The Sting or, Catch Me If You Can, or, that one movie with Morgan Freeman about the magicians. Those are the only times you're going to root for the grifter. But this is not a movie. This is our lives, and we are dying every fucking day. So it's a fucking cult. So finally, let's get into the quantum mysticism. Now, what is quantum mysticism? All right, well, it's another form of the chakra bullshit. And again, this is not what you're going to get from Spiritual Essence. My friend Ghana runs this company, and she makes sure that she is not going to give you bullshit information. She is not going to tell you what you want to hear. She's going to tell you what she believes. And if you came to her, then you're looking for that kind of spiritual guidance. I totally respect that. And so I highly recommend you go talk to her. You can say that Useless Agents sent you, and she'll help you out. All right. So finally, we're going to get into the big discussion over quantum mysticism, because we like to put two words that people barely understand. And, like when it comes down to the Marvel multiverse, whatever the fuck you want to call it, they love to use the word quantum. And I mean, look at every Ant-Man movie. Now, quantum means very small. True. But a quantum realm is highly skepticized. It's highly it's uncharted territory, and it's okay to put in a movie. But when you start writing books and calling it this simply because you want to confuse it, or you want to confuse your readers, then you're trying to get them to subscribe to your own bullshit. How is that no different than a cult? you're trying to break them down and change their belief system into the keys of quantum mysticism, which is, in my opinion, a nice way of saying a little bit of bullshit magic. All right, so quantum means small, mysticism basically just means magic. So by putting in the word quantum and mysticism, you are now saying that, magic is real. So I want you guys to just listen to Professor Dave while he explains a few minutes. We got about 5 minutes to do this, so let's go.
But I would like to start somewhere more fundamental. Let's begin with the core confusion that enables the whole show. Much like other scams and pseudoscience, it all stems from a misunderstanding of basic scientific concepts and terminology. In this case, it is the word energy. What is energy? Even just hearing that word out loud, dozens of connotations probably come to mind. Here is the way quantum mystics on the internet use the word incorrectly.
They talk about something called spirit, an energy, and an invisible force that seems to be controlling who and what we really are. Quantum physics emphasizes that the universe is not really split into two realms, a material realm and an energetic realm. Quantum physics reveals that everything is made out of energy. What we perceive as matter is actually an illusion of energy and light, that there is nothing physical.
So as you can see, to the quantum mystic, energy is a synonym for magic. It means whatever they want it to mean in order to sell to the suggestible viewer whatever it is that they're selling. But in science, this word has a very specific definition, which we must learn now.
I really want to jump in. I really want to jump into this because this is a common misconception. Now, when you hear people saying these terms, you'll hear this a lot. Oh, I like the energy in this room. Or, oh, man, I like the energy this guy brings. Energy is a force. But what you're really just saying is you like the vibe of this. So, I mean, we tend to say positive energy. There's nothing wrong with that as long as you know that it's not actual energy.
To the quantum mystic, energy is a synonym for magic. It means whatever they want it to mean in order to sell to the suggestible viewer whatever it is that they're selling. But in science, this word has a very specific definition, which we must learn now. For maximum effect, please purge yourself of every connotation you are aware of for the word energy, as the term has been completely convoluted by society, so we need to start from a blank slate. Act as if you've never heard this word before. Are you ready? Here it comes. Energy is the capacity to do work. The end. Now, to further clarify, we should also define work. Again, in society, this word means many things. It can refer to a profession, an action, or even a location. So let's again purge ourselves of these connotations so that we can learn what it means in science. Work refers to an action done on an object whereby an applied force causes a displacement of that object. So work is about motion. When you apply a force to an object and it moves, like pushing a box across the floor, you're doing work. So energy is the capacity to do work, which is what causes motion. And
now the reason why he has to break that down so primitively is actually quite important. The reason why he's doing it is because people have these wrong connotations over those words. People think energy is like, I don't know, like lightning bolts, I guess. They think lightning bolts are just all around us and shit. And that's not what energy is. Now, there are all fucking different types of energy, be it man-made or be it, nature. But to misuse the words like work and energy is what they rely on to confuse you. So now I want you to get in, what I want you to show you is the positive and negative energies, which is being really shoved down your throat by a guy named Deepak Chopra. If you've ever seen The Love Guru, I know. Did anybody see the Love Guru? It was a good movie. What the fuck's your problem? All right. It's basically an hour and a half Indian joke, but it's still pretty funny. Anyway, the whole movie bases around Mike Myers wanting to be Deepak Chopra, or at least be the next Deepak Chopra. And so we do get to see him in the movie. He is in a couple scenes, and I love how Dave is just going to rip him apart in this, because we should know that most gurus and shit are just that, just full of shit. And just because Oprah says so does not make it a fact.
This makes any sense except the strictly metaphorical. So when these terms are used improperly, it is simply an unfortunate side effect of allowing words to have multiple meanings in a language. The literalization of this metaphorical usage confuses people and renders them susceptible to cranks and con men who exploit this confusion for financial gain. Speaking of cranks and con men, let's get to them now. I want to start with one of the primary figures, if not the primary figure, responsible for the popularization of quantum mysticism in the 1990s. That is the glammed out guru himself, Deepak Chopra. Deepak rose to prominence on the success of his 1993 book, Ageless Body, Timeless Mind, The Quantum Alternative to Growing Old. This, along with his previous book called Quantum Healing, piggybacked on the broader New Age movement that was picking up steam, and he rode the tidal wave of science-flavored, self-help themed snake oil to significant fame and fortune. As you can see, quantum is a very important buzzword for this brand of deception, and it only serves to disguise mysticism as science. Given that Chopra has published nearly 100 books, there is no time to go into every single thing he's written, nor would I ever subject myself to that kind of torture. But a pervading theme across his body of work is the power of the mind. The mind, according to him, has limitless power in healing oneself, as well as shaping or even manifesting aspects of physical reality. He describes the phenomenon of perfect health, the title of another one of his books, and a selling point for his ultra-expensive wellness retreats. He advertises that those who read or attend and learn these techniques, which we could call sorcery, can be totally free of disease, never feel pain, and even halt the aging process, all simply with the mind. Of course, it seems that even Deepak himself was unable to put that last technique into practice, as he is 74 years old and he looks his age. His other favorite thing to talk about is how physics tells us that consciousness creates reality.
All right, and so we're running short on time, so I'm going to go ahead and just finish this up. So Deepak Chopra here is going to be one of those, or well, he is one of those leaders in quantum mysticism. The point is, it's bullshit. It's another form of cultism, which is why he relies on so many books, relies on your money, and then spends that money on bullshit retreats. Honestly, save your money. Go out to Mexico. There's a place real small on the, I think it's the eastern part of Mexico. And I think it's called Tutulu or something like that. And you can lick toads and trip balls in your own private teepee. All right? So trip balls, don't trip over yourselves. All right? It just doesn't make sense. And when you see a cult, you call it a fucking cult. All right? Quantum mysticism is bullshit. It's just used to sell books and make you think you feel happier about yourself. And in the end, it's all just a big ass grift. So that's the end of my time. Love you guys. Hope you get something out of this. And I am loving this new sound system. So yeah, we're definitely not getting rid of this. Also, how cool is this to be able to just move this around? So, all right. So, yeah, hope you got something out of this. We'll be back tomorrow. Love you guys. Stay safe. Stay free. Stay away from quantum mysticism. Most of all, please, stay cheesy, my friends. Always stay cheesy. And stay the fuck away from MAGA. It's really the best advice I can give to you.
Selfies are a form of social commentary and not in any way meant to put down the ideas and ideals of any political or gender identity. You are all fair game in the eyes of the wicked, and we see you.
The world is like a ride at an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored, and it's very loud, and it's fun for a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us, they say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride.
Gentlemen, this is democracy manifest. Have a look at, see that chap over there? He'll take your hand off my penis!
The Deputy Secretary, the Deputy Secretary, Deputy Secretary.
This guy is fucking stupid!
Stay cheesy.